I'll get up at 5. I'll walk them for about an hour.
Right.
Starting the day at 6 o'clock, most of my competition is still sleeping,
Right.
right? I'll bang out 18, 20 emails before my first cup of coffee. And the market doesn't even open until 8:30 local time.
Right.
So by the time the market is open, I will tell you that I've probably done more in my day than maybe 50% of my entire competition.
Welcome to Success Superstars, your place for inspiration and the blueprint of success for peak performers just like you. My special guest on episode number 140, Antonio Valente. Welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Real pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Now, you're obviously with the Baird Group and
That's right.
have a long, distinguished career in financial services.
Sure do. Yeah.
Now, normally I interview, our real estate associates and professionals, but I really wanted to get you on the show for a number of reasons, just because of your amazing success. But there's so many corollaries between, being an entrepreneur, whether it's financial services or real estate or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree 100%, Mark.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started.
Sure. So the world of an entrepreneur, as you know, Mark, right, is very rarely a straight line.
Yeah,
Okay. Right. Never. Unfortunately, though, or maybe fortunately, maybe mine sort of is because financial services is all I've ever done. Okay. So since I graduated college back in '98, this is my 23rd year on Wall Street, helping folks, helping companies save for a better tomorrow, helping them with their investments, getting them to where they want to be in their life. We call it legacy planning. That's all I've ever done.
I love legacy planning. I want to come back to that.
Yeah.
So was it hard getting started? Was it tough? I mean, did you have instant success, or did you have some tough times and want to throw in the towel?
Okay, so working on Wall Street is insanely difficult
Right.
and insanely competitive. Okay, and I will tell you, like in any business or in any entrepreneur, that road feels like a mountain. And maybe you climb 1,000 feet and you think you're there, and no way, you got another 24,000 feet to go. So there's no such thing as instant success. I always tell myself, my team, what does really success look like? And, we don't put a monetary value on it. What we're looking to do is help as many folks as possible. So if the goal was helping 5, we're going to want to help 6. We're going to want to look to help 7, right? It's a moving target.
Right.
We're looking for growth.
Right. Now, was your first transaction easy to get?
No. It was anything but. In fact, Mark, I want to say my first yes came after 503 no's.
No, get out of town, right?
No,
500 no's.
503. 503 no's, but that 504th opportunity was a yes, and it was a $3.5 million deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even Walt Disney, I think, only had 300 no's before he got funded for Disney. You had 200 more than Walt Disney.
Well, he's a much better sketch artist than I ever could be, so there you go.
Well, and I'm reminded of that movie, Pursuit of Happiness. I think it's Will Smith. It's an amazing journey of how the mental toughness. So have you always been mentally tough? Did you have to build that muscle? How did you get through? 500 no's is a lot of rejections. Most people would have quit and run out and got a job at, Walmart or something.
No, you're right. So, I practice this philosophy of, it's important to eat well. It's important to work out. It's important to take care of the things that we see.
Right.
But it's as important, and perhaps even more important, Mark, to work on mental clarity, to work on mental toughness. And so, like I said, it's a sort of a process. I don't feel like it ever stops. But one of the things that I do is on an annual basis is do this like a Whole30 cleanse, right? Where I remove certain things, out of my life, the certain distractors, the noise, the bad foods, things like that. And I don't do it for the physical attributes, what I get from that, but I do it because it's an opportunity for me to work on mental Toughness.
Oh, I see. You know, one of the success coach I follow, every year he does a 30-day no cookie challenge.
Okay.
It's not about the cookies.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So it's more about, can I do it for 30 days?
Yeah.
And then the confidence he builds at the end of 30 days, hey, I did it.
Absolutely. I remember the first time I did it, it was so hard, Mark. I was like,
Right.
there's no way. I was counting hours. I'm like, this is hour 8 of day 1.
Oh, wow.
You know, and now I guess I've just trained myself. I look at it.
Right.
I attack most of the obstacles or things that come my way like a samurai.
Right.
And I say, I'm sorry, but this is something that I am greater than this. This challenge is nothing, and
Right.
it sets me up for success.
So yeah, same here. Yeah, Bev and I do that for similar for Lent each year, and
Exactly.
it's not about the cookie.
It's not about that.
Yeah, it's about
Right.
So, what other routines do you do to challenge yourself to, you know, this growth mindset that you're in? It's a continuum. You know, I know
Yeah.
from time to time I slip into a fixed mindset, and then that
Sure.
continuum, I got to get myself out of it.
Yeah.
What other routines do you have that keep you growing?
Yeah, so I try to wake up early every single morning. Okay, so I have a crazy lab dog. If you ever seen the film Marley and Me,
Yes.
that's Napoleon.
Got it.
Napoleon, it looks exactly like that dog, and let me tell you, acts the same way. He needs a lot of walking.
Right.
Right now, as an entrepreneur, right, my schedule is I'm always working.
Right.
Right, that is our philosophy. We are always absolutely working. I'll get up at 5. I'll walk him for about an hour.
Right.
Starting the day at 6 o'clock. Most of my competition is still sleeping,
Right.
right? I'll bang out 18, 20 emails before
Right.
my first cup of coffee. And the market doesn't even open until 8:30 local time.
Right.
So by the time the market is open, I will tell you that I've probably done more in my day than maybe 50% of my entire competition.
There you go, because you just outwork them.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, you know, you're working all the time, but I also know how devoted you are to your family, your
Yeah.
daughter, who I got to meet the other day.
Was that a great experience?
Oh, it was a great experience. So how do you balance, because I know you're so dedicated to her and her growth, how do you keep all that in balance?
So what I do for a living never really feels like work, Mark. And I know that kind of sounds a little bit, you know, cheesy. And this
Yeah.
is all I've ever done.
Yeah, it sounds unbelievable.
But-
What do you mean it's not work?
But and I tell you, it is. I mean, there were days during the initial onset of coronavirus. I was probably working 18 hours a day. There was
Right.
a lot of stress in the world, a lot
your
of
phone-
uncertainty.
your phone probably
I was
never
going
stopped
through
ringing.
phone batteries like crazy.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay. We're here to act as the voice of reason and help folks get through not just the easy times, but the tough times, right? But what I do for a living is absolute passion of mine.
Right.
And my family is obviously a passion of mine as well. So it's not that hard for me to sort of weave in and weave out. And then obviously the onset of technology
Right.
and great tools that we have allows me to get the job done without really sacrificing my
Right.
family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in this time of, particularly in your world, anytime there's a blip, right?
Yeah.
People go nuts. How have you managed through COVID? Has it been more communication, more information, more hand-holding? What?
Yeah, I would tell you, so again, 23rd year, COVID is the first time we've dealt with COVID, but this isn't the first health crisis that we've had
Right.
over the last 100 years, not even the last 23 years, right?
Right.
We've had Ebola, right? We've
Yeah.
had Zika, right? We've had all the avian bird flu.
We
we've
had 2008, which was the financial.
Right, exactly, right. A
Meltdown.
financial apocalypse, really,
Right.
right? We've had 9/11. We've
Right.
had so many different things that go on. So the cause of a negative impact, or let's call it a tsunami, a ripple effect, like we saw with coronavirus, usually the causes are different. But the impacts, the stress that it creates, right? The negative returns, for a short period of time,
Right.
there's nothing new there. And so our process really is helping, the families and the individuals and the companies that we work with is to understand that there are certain things that we can expect to happen in life. There's certain indicators and
Right.
oscillators and all this fancy Wall Street talk that, that we have, and it's great, don't get me wrong. But then you get a coronavirus in there, and nobody saw that coming, right?
Right.
And so we plan for the unexpected, not knowing when it's going to happen. We're
Right.
just seasoned enough to know, Mark, that it is going to happen.
If something's going to happen.
Exactly right. Providing education as we go through the process, right? When the times are good and folks want to get a little bit more aggressive, we got to act as the voice of reason and say, hold on. I know it's great now. We just can't really see behind the next corner. We need to follow a disciplined strategy.
Yeah, for sure. And you just never know. I think I shared with you earlier this morning that I'll probably date myself a little bit, but the first car that I bought on my own when I had to sign a car loan was, I think, 16 or 17% interest rates. And my stepdad at the time was a major home builder in Colorado Springs, and he told me, Mark, we'll never see single-digit mortgage rates ever again.
Yeah.
And you know,
here we are.
God rest his soul. You know, here we have almost free money, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
Well, so how important is it for our real estate associates and the audience that's hearing this episode to have a financial plan?
Oh my goodness. So I will tell you, so unlike, your standard, corporations that have, defined contract, employer-sponsored retirement plans, all these things, for those folks, it makes things a little bit easier, right? Because things are right in front of your face.
Yeah,
right?
It's done for them.
It's basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of these, 401k plans are negative election. You're automatically enrolled, and you're not even missing what's going on. Now, for entrepreneurs, it's a little bit different.
Has some matching potential.
There's usually matching, right? Little sweeteners to make the deal. But for entrepreneurs, that stuff isn't there.
Yeah.
And so it is easy, because it's difficult to be an entrepreneur, it's easy to focus on all these things and leave yourself behind, and you're thinking, okay, retirement is, for some folks it's 40 years away, for some folks it's 20 years away, for some folks it's 3 hours away, right? And what I could tell you is, if you save nothing, the only guarantee I ever make is, if you save nothing, you will have nothing. And I know, I work with a lot of the agents at JPAR, phenomenal folks, outstanding organization. They work really hard, Mark.
They do. And
when I think about how hard they work, just think about the pivot that your folks had to make during coronavirus, they need to be rewarded. Right. And so a financial plan is going to help them understand where they are today, what changes they need to make, whether it's saving more, spending less, right? Starting IRAs or SEPs or these different things like this.
Health savings accounts.
Health savings accounts are critically important.
Right.
The more time that an individual has to prepare for the future, the better off they'll be, Mark.
Yeah. Well, and as entrepreneurs, for some reason, we're built to care for others more than ourselves. Yeah. And it manifests itself. You always know you're in a real estate office when you walk out in the parking lot and almost all of the license tabs are expired. Right? Because they all forget, they don't take care of their own license plates or their own health plan or their own insurance because they're so busy taking care of their clients.
You're right.
And so for them to get in and have a financial plan, is it an easy process? Is it complicated? Do they have to have a lot of paperwork?
Yeah.
I mean, tell us.
The hardest part, Mark, is picking up the phone and saying,
I need help.
I need help. That is literally the hardest part.
Right.
Okay. Because once you get through that, right, the individual here understands, hey, look, you know what? I know I'm worth more than where I'm at today. Right. And I look at myself. I've bought houses. I've sold houses. I would never in my life ever think of doing it without a professional. I rely on that professional to be my voice of reason, to be the expert. That's a big transaction.
Right.
Well, so is planning for the rest of your life. So is financial freedom.
Yeah.
And I would take that same parallel with this. And the hardest part is just picking up the phone and saying, I need some help.
Yeah. And particularly in today's environment where most all of us are going to live much longer than our parents did.
Yeah.
I mean, living to 100 these days is really not unrealistic.
Yeah.
And so it's probably never been more important. Now, I think it's also important to note that you're also a trusted advisor. You're, in a sense, part of many of our associates' team.
Yeah.
Just like there's a CPA, their financial planner, their lawyer, those advisors that they bring to their clients.
Yep.
You serve as, in a sense, their board of directors.
You're exactly right. So I will tell you that most of my clients would say he's part of our family. And I think, it's important for us, our team, that our clients can sleep well at night.
Right.
It really is, especially during crazy times. it's important that I sleep well at night too.
Right.
Those two things have to happen together. And, the individuals that we work with will tell you, Antonio's like a family member to us.
Yeah.
I'm worried about our clients' children going to the schools that they want to go into,
Right.
that they can get the best education that they want without their parents, having to eat cat food when they're 65,
Right.
or taking a, double mortgage, on their house to send their children to school.
Yeah.
Right? We're focused on those things. You talked about something earlier. It's really, really important. So if the average person retires at 67 right now, okay, the average male in the United States lives to 88. The average female lives to 92. That's a third of our life is in retirement.
Right. And it's growing.
And it's growing.
Right. I mean,
we're living longer.
I just got an email from one of the coaches that I follow who basically said, hey, if you do these health things that you're talking about, plan to live to 100.
Plan to live to 100.
And so, I think it's super important. All right. Well, I am so honored that you joined us today.
Thank you.
I know the audience is going to get great value. It's funny that you mentioned sleep, because just a few episodes ago, I interviewed one of the nation's leading expert on sleep and peak performance, Dr. Shane Corrado. And so if you haven't seen that, I'll send you the link.
Please
and
do.
If you haven't seen it in the audience, my interview with Dr. Shane Corrado about the importance of sleep for peak performance, it is a must-watch, and so I'm glad you brought that in.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, any last words of wisdom to the entrepreneurs listening in today?
Just keep doing what you're doing. I would tell you it's most critically important to be authentic, Mark.
Yeah, for sure.
Follow a good network. Surround yourself with excellent managers like yourself. Mark. Find your resources and utilize your resources. Have the right friends. Be the right friend as well.
Right.
Always be the voice of reason. Your agents are working with individuals who, for the most part, this is the largest financial transaction that they will do in their lifetime.
Yes.
And so when you take a step back, it's not just buying a piece of property. This is huge. This is huge for that family. Take a step back. Always do your best. Always be authentic.
Yeah, for sure. You reminded me of one of my favorite quotes is you can blame resources or you can become resourceful.
I like it.
Right?
I like it.
Chris, that could be the quote of the episode. You can blame resources or you become resourceful. Well, with that, thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And we'll see you soon on another episode of Success Superstars. Until then, may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears.